Ho ho ho! Happy Hacksmas, agents! Santa here, welcoming you to this week's Ingress Insights podcast, hosted by Pokemon Trainer J. Ingress Insights is a podcast about the Niantic game Ingress. Listen each week for the latest news, updates, and rumors. Share comments on your podcast feed or on our socials in the show notes. And check the merch store out too. I've got you all on my nice list. So, no Dark XM for you this year. I hear one agent has fit rep rewards on their Christmas list. I'll see what I can do. Ho ho ho! On with the show.
Additional intel available.
Hello agents and welcome to episode 59 of the Ingress Insights podcast. This time around it's not our usual podcast. We're going through some details around what Niantic Trading Post was, as I'm not around this week, so I recorded this in advance. So you've still got a show to listen to on Sunday. So what I'll do is go through the official announcements about Niantic Trading Post, thoughts on what it was, as well as things about the shutdown to give you a better idea if you weren't around at the time, what it was and why it ultimately failed. A nice one-line summary I found of Niantic Trading Post notes it's a collaboration between Niantic and SpotX. Trading Post is an attempt to create collectible NFT biocards for Ingress agents that were stored on the Polygon blockchain. There was more that was covered in the various Telegram channels announcements at the time, so this one's coming from the RGNN ticker. So they noted it's designed to let agents trade biocards with QR codes. Agents can acquire backgrounds from Niantic which come in standard, limited, rare or legendary and trade them. Agents can create virtual biocards in packs of 10 using the background. Then agents can trade biocards using QR code, and it is, as the mentioned, created by SpotX Games. But I'll give the official thing for what SpotX Games say about it as well. So they note that Ingress biocards are a core piece of our Ingress community and culture. There are some challenges though. Physical biocards are difficult to make, hard to trade with your friends around the world, and there's no way to showcase all the connections you've made. Player cards are unique digital collectibles you can create, trade and showcase anytime, anywhere. You now have the ability to easily create and trade digital collectible cards for all players and characters. Each card is unique and gives you a shareable experience outside the game. Claim pack drops with a random selection of cards to unlock different rarities. Keep an eye out for drops at events and surprises online. It's easy to create a personalised player card to share with friends. Just choose a frame and upload a memory. I remember this being announced, I think it was around the time of the Epiphany Dawn series, because I remember there were Epiphany Dawn packs to collect. And basically it was a pack of cards that you go and collect from the store and open and retrieve the frames like it said. And then you could create a card using those frames, and then that made an NFT as far as I remember. It was a little while back and I didn't really get the concept and why people were doing it. There was also the question of whether announcing the drops on Campfire was the best place to do that, because Campfire was still relatively new at the time and mainly for Pokemon Go. Some people may say that's not really changed because the Ingress Campfire chats often flooded with Pokemon Go requests and people posting friend codes and raids in the wrong place. Some people said it was a good idea to have digital collectible cards, but I'm going to get into what SpotX exactly said digital collectibles were in their view, as well as going through the AMA that they did, just to give full details of it on there. But for myself, I remember creating a few cards here and there, and then people figured out how to exploit things and gain cards that other people had that were meant to be limited. It's only a digital thing anyway, so the rarities are all made up. But I'll get into, as I said, next about what SpotX said the digital collectibles were on their help page. As I mentioned, I just want to go through two of the help articles, which are now just available via the Wayback Machine, which I'll link to. So first of all is the roadmap for Niantic Trading Post. So they noted, we are planning on taking a phased approach to explore how we can use blockchain technology to enhance user experiences. The first phase is an exploratory one. So they note, in this phase, we are creating digital collectibles for you. They're just like the physical character cards you collect, except now you can collect and trade them more easily in the online trading post. The upcoming plans were, in the future, we plan on providing the ability to own and transfer your digital collectible. We're also exploring features like the ability to list your collectible for sale in the marketplace, an NFT, basically, if you don't know that. I also want to cover what they class as what digital collectibles are, because it links to that in the roadmap help page. So they put that on the trading post, we offer certain digital collectibles are non-fungible tokens, NFTs, unique digital items stored permanently on a blockchain, In this phase of the trading post, frames and character cards will be stored on the blockchain, but we will keep them safe for you in our digital wallet. In the future, we plan on unlocking features that will give you direct ownership of digital collectibles. We use the ERC721A standard to create these digital collectibles on Polygon. User-created player cards are not currently stored on the blockchain, but this may change in the future as we continue to develop content policies and guidelines for player cards. So I want to cover specifically the ERC721A standard that they mentioned on there, because that's brought up in the AMA that they did later on for the SpotX team. Before I get into that, I did, prior to doing this podcast, seek out a few members of the SpotX team to see if they wanted to talk about what Niantic Trading Post was and maybe try to say good things about it. But unfortunately, I didn't get a response from anyone, so it's just me talking this time. The Niantic Trading Post team did try and do an AMA, so an Ask Me Anything on r/Ingress in January 2023 to try and explain more about what it is and kind of try and demystify it. Not great to have to do a few months after your product's launched, but that's what they did. And then they did, "Hi everyone, this is Chris from the Niantic Trading Post team. We're excited to have a week-long AMA, Ask Me Anything about the Niantic Trading Post. The AMA starts today and will finish on Friday at 3 PM EST. If you're not familiar, the Niantic Trading Post is a new beta product from Niantic where Ingress agents can create, collect and trade digital biocards. The frames and character cards used to create biocards are the digital collectibles on the Polygon blockchain. Here's a picture of me and the Trading Post team in our office on Friday. We're on call all week to answer your questions. Please drop them in the comments below." So I'm going to go through some of the most highly rated comments and the responses that they got. As usual, whenever I do forum posts or skirmish results, I always say that I may get things incorrect, so apologies if your Reddit name comes up here and I say it wrong. The first one I can see is from Jenagsuston. So he said, "Hey Chris, I asked this question during the AMA with Brian and Thea here a while back, but I want to ask it again. The Niantic Trading Post looks really cool. It seems like a ton of fun to pull cards and borders from packs, and I create new bio cards to trade them with others. However, why did it have to include NFTs? As it is right now, I can't see a reason why this site has to use NFTs and or blockchain and why it can't run with boring Web 2.0 tech. Agents already raised their concerns and loudly voiced their disapproval and disappointment with the SpotX team just meeting with players without them even announcing anything, and yet the decision to create this site using NFTs after the backlash was still made. Don't get me wrong, again, thumbs up for the SpotX team for spinning up the site. Looks great, I'd love to use it, but NFTs are an absolute no-go for me. The question is, why NFTs? Why even after the backlash?" They also add, and for some personal 2 cents no one asked for, "I truly believe if an aspect of the site were to be removed, a ton of more people would use it, me included." A response was given from Isolink651, who was Chris in the SpotX team, and they said, "Hey, good question. There are a few main reasons we're exploring Web3 for the trading post. Primarily, we're exploring agents owning their commemorative memories, artwork, and relationships shared on trading posts. This is only possible through a decentralized public database with custodial digital wallets. We believe the world and technology landscape will shift to valuing digital properties similar to physical property. The trading post is an exploration in that direction. Another main reason to use Web3 technology to create a permissionless asset that agents can use to create new things, platforms and items with. By leveraging a public database instead of a private database, we can decentralize access to bio cards, frames and character cards. Similar to the marketplace anomaly events where agents create incredible physical goods, we're building a world for where digital items are collected, traded and shared similarly to physical goods. In regard to your comment on the backlash, we've heard balanced feedback from players both online and in real life at anomalies and other Ingress events. We'll listen to it all and it surely makes an impact on our decision making." The next comment is from Virodilran, and they said, "In a previous AMA, we were told that Trading Post was an effort to learn about how the Niantic community feels about digital property and ownership, and the team wanted to truly listen to all the voices in the conversation about it. If you read through this thread or any of the threads about Trading Post, the feedback is overwhelmingly one-sided. To anyone who's been paying attention, it's already abundantly clear how gamers see NFTs in general, exactly what they are, a scam. So why is this feedback being ignored if that was the entire point in the first place?" The team responded, "Hi, happy to touch on that. In-person conversation, player and community leader focus groups, surveys and evaluating agent actions on the Trading Post have been overwhelmingly positive. We're evaluating all feedback channels for holistic understanding. I can assure you feedback here is not ignored and adds to that holistic understanding." I'm just going to run through 2 more comments. I will link to this in the show notes. You can read through all if you want, but this is 2 more that stand out to me on there. The next one is from Sternis-Vulgaris. Say, "How would you respond to the CCRI report from 2022 that states the Polygon blockchain proof of work model causes the emission of 60,953.26 tons of carbon dioxide equivalents per year? Does Niantic have any plans to offset its share of this carbon footprint? Why is this endeavour necessary or advisable given its ecological cost?" The response back for this one was, hey, great question. This report is outdated and does not account for the proof of stake transition that Ethereum underwent last year. Ethereum, the layer 1 that Polygon's layer 2 blockchain is built on, is now a proof of stake mechanism. This drastically reduced the carbon emissions of Ethereum to 872 tons CO2e annually. Polygon now has an estimated 56.22 tons CO2e. The Niantic Trading Post has a tiny amount of transactions compared to the total transaction on Polygon, and ultimately the transactions rolling to the layer 1 Ethereum. We're exploring this new technology with a comprehensive viewpoint, including any environmental concerns. They did then link to a few articles that explain that a bit more, but I'll get on now to one of my favourite comments and responses on this thread. The final question I'll read on this AMA is a simple one from Skyhawk Kex, or Skyhawk X, and they just ask, why? It's a single word. And the response there is, the why behind Niantic Trading Post is to enable Ingress agents around the globe to collect, trade, and digital biocards and memories from the community. It was followed up by a question from the IMMC, and they said the question is never about why trading posts, it's about why NFT, which you did answer in another thread and should have been pinned in this thread. Being able to create and trade digital biocards is a fun addition, but there is a stigma associated with NFTs. Not the place here to debate whether it's justified, there's no doubt the stigma exists. I'm perfectly fine with my digital biocards being stored on a private server run by Niantic, trades recorded in the SQL database, etc. I don't need to have an independent tech system outside Niantic. And then they responded back to say, this is great feedback, thank you. Whilst this isn't the worst AMA I've seen on Reddit personally, it's clear it was a bit of a dumpster fire and they were never really going to answer the questions that Ingress agents wanted, such as why by Skyhawk X earlier, to actually say why they wanted to include NFTs and what the point was of trading posts, because it was never clear, even to me, as I collected some of the cards and made like 2 or 3 frames, I think. Now that I've explained a bit what it is, it's time for it to move into the next phase for many of Niantic's project of being shut down. So Niantic Trading Post started in November 2022, and it was announced on the Ingress community forums in April 2023 that it was closing down on June 9th, 2023. Before I get into what was said on the Ingress community forums, I just want to highlight what the Web3 is Going Great website said about it. So they noted that the announcement seemed to come as relief to many in the Ingress community, with commenters remarking on the scammy nature of NFTs. Some wrote they liked the idea, but the Web3 factor felt like it was shoehorned in. I'll miss the trading post. Please never bring NFTs or, in fact, any blockchain to future projects, or if you do at the very least, make it actually matter the thing it's being put into, but still preferably just don't, said one. The post on the Ingress community forum has read, thank you for your support Trading Post Ingress community, and said, today we're announcing the Ingress Trading Post is shutting down on June 9th. The Trading Post was a Web3 project from the SpotX team, a Web3 research and development group at Niantic, with the goal of connecting Ingress agents around the world through digital Ingress biocards. Many agents participated through our Epiphany Dawn Anomaly series in 2022 and continued collecting, trading and sharing memories with one another. Trading Post is an experimentation effort to explore the world of digital collectibles, and while we believe Web3 has the potential to create meaningful experiences in the future, we plan to shift focus to other priorities. Here is what this announcement means for your Trading Post biocards. Users will have 60 days from today to download the biocards held in their collection, after which they'll no longer be accessible. Users will be able to trade and create new biocards for 30 days as of this announcement. There will not be any new packs dropped or frames. On June 9th, the Trading Post website and associated Campfire channel will shut down. Ingress has long been a place where new ideas incubate, and we want to thank the Ingress agents for participating and sharing valuable feedback. You showed us how closely knit the community is, a core principle of Niantic Games. Thank you. I'm aware I'm bouncing around a little bit between various posts, but I do want to cover the line from the Killed by a Niantic website. So they headline the trading post thing as not effing traded, highlighting the F in effing for NFT. And they note the entire project was a convoluted mess of buzzwords and jargon that made no sense to anyone outside the tech industry, which I think kind of nails it. I'm just going to run through a few comments from the community forum post. I'm not going to go through names, just select out a few comments that are on there. One person said, yes, awesome, this is the best news I've heard the whole day, but it's only 11 AM. NFT and crypto are scourge on our site and bring no value whatsoever. It's accessible of scammers, scalpers, speculators and grifters. Ingress community needs none of that. If you want to foster player creativity, just release all those frames as regular images without all that crypto exchange. Very happy to hear this, said someone else. NFTs are super scammy and rather prefer not to be associated with companies pushing them. Another person just said, good choice, Niantic. Someone else said, thank you, Niantic and Spike's team. I really like the concept of the trading post in itself, but I couldn't never understand why you insist on shoehorning Web3 and NFTs into it. Without it, I'd love to use it, and I know a ton of other people that have done so as well. And one other one said, well, that was all predictable. The product went after a subset, NFT collectors of a subset, biocard collectors of Ingress agents. Still, I'm surprised it died this quickly, not even 6 months. Totally ruined my plan to make an Instagram post with charts and graphs even, showing how doomed Trading Post was. And then my own comment to the thread back in April 2023 was just the image from Loki season 1, where he goes, yes, very sad. Anyway, and carry on from there. So that was a quick summary of what Niantic Trading Post was and why it didn't work and why Ingress agents didn't like it. I will link to all the resources I've mentioned in the show notes, including links from the Wayback Machine, so you can view details on there and see what was said at the time and what the SpotX team thought was a good idea. I believe the SpotX team were unfortunately all laid off when Niantic laid off 200 or so staff a little while back. So as far as I know, there's no ongoing Web3 products at Niantic, but don't quote me on it. They may still have something going in the background they've not told us about yet. As I mentioned, I did reach out to a few SpotX people to see if they wanted to talk about Trading Post on the podcast, but unfortunately didn't get any response. So if you did work on it and you're hearing this now and you want to talk about us, tell us more about the background, maybe things we didn't get as to why it didn't work, that would be great for a future episode if you're interested. But that's all from me for this week, agents. I'll be back with a regular episode next week talking about the EMEA skirmish results and anything else that's happened in between. But I hope you all have a great Sunday, happy hacking, and don't miss your NFTs that you never really used anyway from Niantic Trading Post. Have a great Sunday. Speak with you next week. Thank you, agents, for listening to the latest episode of the Ingress Insights podcast. If you'd like to follow us on social media, you can do that on a few channels. So on Threads under the name ingress.insights, on Instagram under the name ingress.insights as well. Twitter/X, which posts episodes of the podcast, is under Ingress Insights, no dot in that one. And you can also watch these episodes on YouTube under Ingress Insights Podcast. You can send us a voice message by visiting the podcaster's Spotify page. And finally, you can buy Ingress Insights merch, such as mugs, pins, t-shirts, by going to epublic.com/user/ingress-insights. And on there, you'll see all the designs that we've got listed at the moment. There are some new ones that will be coming up at some point soon. But you can buy your Ingress Insights mug, hats, t-shirts, tote bags, anything like that you want. Thank you again for listening. Hope you tune in next week. If you do like the show, please do rate it on the podcast service you're listening to. I look forward to speaking with you all about Ingress again.
Intel package transferred.